In 2018, a man in Chittagong received a phone call from his best friend. That wouldn't have been strange, except for one thing. His friend had died 3 days earlier. The story. This story was shared by a man named Armin. At the time, Armin worked in a private company and lived in a small apartment. He had a close friend named Nabil. They had been friends since college, almost like brothers. They talked every day, met often, shared everything. But everything changed suddenly. One night, Nabil was involved in a serious road accident. He was rushed to the hospital, but he didn't survive. The news hit Armin hard. He couldn't believe it. Just hours before the accident, they had spoken on the phone, laughing, planning to meet. And now, he was gone. The first call, 3 days after Nabil's funeral. Armin was alone in his apartment. It was around 11:45 p.m. He was lying on his bed, scrolling through old messages, reading their conversations, trying to process everything. Then suddenly, his phone rang. Armin didn't think much at first, but when he looked at the screen, his entire body froze. The caller ID showed Nabil. Armin stared at the screen. His heart started beating fast. "This is not possible," he whispered. He thought it might be a glitch. Maybe someone else using his number. Or a network error. The phone kept ringing. After a few seconds, Armin answered. "Hello." For a moment there was only silence. Then, a voice came. Soft. Familiar. "Armin." It was Nabil's voice. Exactly the same. Armin's breath stopped. "Nabil." No response for a few seconds. Then the voice spoke again. "I'm still here." The call ended. Denial. Armin immediately tried to call back, but the number was unreachable. He checked his call log. The number was there. Nabil's number. Nothing unusual. Everything looked normal. The next morning, Armin went to Nabil's house. He spoke to Nabil's family. He didn't tell them everything, but he asked one question. "Is Nabil's phone still active?" His brother replied, "No, we turned it off after the funeral." Armin felt a chill. Then who called him? The second call. That night, the phone rang again. This time exactly at 12:00 a.m. Same number. Same name. Armin hesitated, but he answered. "Hello." This time the voice came immediately. "You didn't come." Armin's heart pounded. "What do you mean?" A pause. Then the voice said, "I was waiting." Armin sat up slowly. "Where?" The line went silent. Then, a faint sound, like wind or breathing. Then a whisper. "At the place." The call ended again. The realization. Armin tried to think. The place. What did that mean? Then suddenly, he remembered. The last conversation they had before the accident. Nabil had asked him to meet at a specific location. An old riverside road outside the city. Armin had said he couldn't go that night. And now, 3 days later, he was getting calls, as if Nabil was still waiting there. The decision. Armin didn't want to go. Everything felt wrong, unnatural, but something inside him, a mix of guilt and curiosity, forced him to make a decision. The next night, he went. The location. The place was isolated. A quiet road near the river. No street lights, no houses nearby, just darkness and the sound of water. Armin parked his bike and stood there, looking around. Nothing. No one. The area was completely empty. Then suddenly, his phone rang again. Nabil. Armin answered slowly. I'm here. The voice replied immediately. I know. Armin's blood ran cold. Where are you? He asked. The voice didn't answer directly. Instead, it said something that made his heart stop. Turn around. The encounter. Armin slowly turned around. Behind him, at a short distance, someone was standing. A figure. Still. Silent. Armin couldn't see the face clearly, but the shape looked familiar. Too familiar. Nabil, he whispered. The figure didn't move. Then suddenly, his phone spoke again. But this time, the voice wasn't coming from the phone. It was coming from behind him, right next to his ear. I never left. Armin screamed and turned quickly. There was no one there. The road was empty again. The phone dropped from his hand. The call had ended. The aftermath. Armin ran. He didn't look back. He didn't stop. He just ran until he reached the main road. After that night, the calls stopped. Completely. No more unknown calls. No more messages. Nothing. But Armin says one thing still haunts him. That voice. That final sentence. I never left. Final line, YouTube ending. Because sometimes, people don't leave after they die. Sometimes, they just find another way to reach you. Fire Part 2, The Voice That Didn't Stop. Armin never wanted to go back to that riverside road again. That night had shaken him deeply. The voice, the figure, and the moment when the sound came from right behind him, even though no one was there. For days, he tried to forget everything. He avoided thinking about it, avoided talking about Nabil, avoided being alone at night. But some things don't leave that easily. The silence before it returned. For almost a week, nothing happened. No calls, no messages, no strange incidents. Armin slowly convinced himself it was over. Maybe it was stress. Maybe grief. Maybe his mind was playing tricks on him. That's what he wanted to believe. Until the seventh night. The third call. It was exactly 2:17 a.m. Armin was asleep. Suddenly, his phone started ringing. The sound woke him up instantly. He looked at the screen, and his heart dropped. Nabil calling. Armin didn't want to answer. His hand froze above the screen. The phone kept ringing. Longer than before. Louder. More persistent. Finally, he answered. Hello. There was no response. Only breathing. Slow, heavy breathing. Armin whispered. Nabil, what do you want? A pause. Then the voice came. But this time, it sounded different. Distorted. Deeper. Not entirely human. You left me there. Armin felt his chest tighten. I didn't know I couldn't. The voice interrupted him. You should have come. The line went silent. Then suddenly, a loud static noise filled the call. And within that noise, Armin heard something else. Not one voice. Many. Whispers overlapping each other. Unclear. Unnatural. As if multiple people were speaking at the same time. Then the call ended. The change begins. After that night, things started happening around Armin. Small things at first. His phone would turn on by itself. Apps opening randomly. Call logs showing outgoing calls he never made. And every time, the number was the same. Nabil, even though the phone was supposed to be off. Then one night, Armin noticed something strange. He was scrolling through his gallery, looking at old photos. Photos of him and Nabil. Memories from years ago. But suddenly, he saw a new photo. One he had never taken. It was dark, blurry, taken at night. Armin zoomed in. His hands started shaking. The photo showed a road. A familiar road. The riverside location. And in the distance, a figure was standing, looking directly at the camera. The visit. That same night, Armin heard something in his apartment. A soft sound, like footsteps. Slow, dragging footsteps, coming from the hallway. Armin sat up in bed, his heart pounding. The sound continued. Step, 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 getting closer. Then it stopped, right outside his room. Armin stared at the door, waiting, listening. Then slowly, the door handle moved, just slightly, as if someone was trying to open it. Armin whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. The handle stopped moving. Silence again. Then suddenly, his phone lit up. Without ringing. A call was already active. He hadn't answered it. But the screen showed. Call in progress, Nabil. Armin froze. The phone was in his hand. But the call had already started. Then, the voice came. Not from the phone speaker. From inside the room. Close. Very close. Open the door. Armin's breathing became heavy. His entire body felt cold. No, he whispered. The voice repeated. Slower. Angrier. Open the door. The door handle began to shake violently, as if something on the other side was trying to force its way in. Armin backed away, holding his phone tightly. Then suddenly, everything stopped. The shaking, the sound, the voice. Complete silence. The call ended. The phone screen went black. The realization. Armin didn't sleep that night. He stayed awake until morning, sitting in the corner of his room, too afraid to move, too afraid to look at the door, because he finally understood something. The calls were not just calls. They were invitations. And every time he answered, something got closer. The final warning. The next morning, Armin went to Nabil's house again. This time he told everything. Every detail. Every call. Every voice. Nabil's mother listened quietly. Then she said something that made Armin feel worse. After the accident, she wasn't the only one who died. Armin frowned. What do you mean? She looked at him. They found another body near the river. No one knows who it was. They said the face was damaged. Armin felt a cold chill run through his body. Because suddenly, the whispers, the distorted voice, the figure in the photo, everything started to make sense. Part 3, the one who learned his voice. Armin didn't go home that day. After hearing what Nabil's mother said, something inside him broke. This was no longer about grief. This was no longer about losing a friend. This was something else. Something that shouldn't exist. The pattern. Armin sat alone in a small tea stall near the main road, trying to think, trying to understand. The calls, the voice, the river, and that unknown body. Then suddenly, a realization hit him. The calls didn't start immediately after Nabal's death. They started 3 days later. And every call pulled him closer. First, it made him answer. Then it made him go to the river. Then it tried to enter his home. This wasn't random. This was a process. The last call. That night, Armin didn't go back to his apartment. He stayed at a friend's place. He thought distance would keep him safe. He thought changing location would stop it. He was wrong. At exactly 2:17 a.m., his phone lit up. No ringtone. No vibration. Just light. He slowly looked at the screen. No name this time. No number. Just one word. Calling. Armin's hands trembled. He didn't touch the phone. But suddenly, the call connected on its own. The screen turned black. And then, the voice came. Not from the phone. From everywhere. Inside the room. Inside his head. You ran. Armin covered his ears. Stop, please stop. The voice laughed. A low, broken sound. You came to me. You answered me. You listened. Each sentence felt heavier. Closer. Stronger. Armin whispered. You're not Nabil. For the first time, the voice changed. It became unstable. Glitching. Like something struggling to hold its form. Then it spoke again. And this time, it sounded like multiple voices layered together. I was not. A pause. Then, but now I am. The truth. The room suddenly felt colder. The lights flickered rapidly. Armin fell to his knees. The voice continued. I needed a voice. I needed a way. You gave it to me. Armin's eyes widened. Because now he understood. It didn't start as Nabil. It became Nabil. By copying him. By learning his voice. By using his number. By making Armin believe. Every call. Every conversation. Every response. Was teaching it. Getting closer. Stronger. More real. The final appearance. The lights went out completely. The room fell into darkness. Only the faint glow of the phone remained. Armin slowly looked up. And saw it. Standing in front of him. Not a shadow anymore. Not a shape. A full figure. But it kept changing. Its face flickered between expressions. Between identities. And then, it stopped. It settled on one face. Nabil's. But wrong. Empty eyes. A slight unnatural smile. You made me real. Armin shook his head. No, no. The thing stepped closer. I am not alone anymore. The twist. Armin's phone suddenly lit up again. Another incoming call. Armin looked down slowly. And felt his blood turn cold. The caller ID showed. Armin. His own name. His own number. Ringing. He looked back up. The thing was still there. Watching him. Smiling. Then it spoke one final time. Now I can be you. Final scene. The next morning. Armin was found sitting alone in the room. Silent. Still. Unresponsive. His phone lay beside him. The screen was cracked. but still on. When someone picked it up, they noticed something strange. The last call log showed: outgoing call unknown. Duration: 02:17 a.m. 02:23 a.m. No one knows who he called or what was said. Final line: dark ending fire. Because sometimes the scariest thing isn't a voice from the dead. It's something that learns how to become you. And once it does, you're no longer the one in control.